AI CMO that went viral for selling a $99 fantasy. And then the comms position that went viral today that Stripe is hiring for. And I thought it
Oh,
was
yeah.
such a stark, reflection of the decision that companies have these days of the type of marketing that they want to do. So Okara launched this week an AI CMO that costs $99 per month that deploys AI agents to handle your SEO, content, social, community engagement, and generative engine optimization by monitoring your Reddit and Hacker News and auto-generating responses intended to drive traffic while maintaining an authentic tone and manages your Twitter account. The pitch: why would you hire a content writer, SEO agency, social media manager, and community manager when you can have AI do it all for $1,000 a year? And I thought it was just one of those short-sighted, early stage startup ideas that only early stage startups think is a good idea. Because if you really break down what this is doing for you, is it's just AI slop for your company that's getting more AI slop from other companies that are doing similar things and then posting that to your Twitter account and telling you that it sounds authentic when we all know it sounds like AI slop, you know? Um, and then, meanwhile, we have Stripe posting this comms role that has the opposite philosophy that's showing you that they're not looking for somebody to come and execute a playbook. They want people that are superlative writers who can design microsites, launch podcasts, write keynotes, prep executives, and move from idea to execution fast. And they said that they're hiring someone that's between, top comms pros and then people with no comms background at all, but have more of founder DNA. I've talked about Stripe here before because we talked about their mini city and how I loved, the marketing, behind it and how, they spent, these hours to not only make the mini city, but to film the whole city happening and coming to life. Live so that people can watch the video and see it all happen in real time, right? And at the time, it was kind of showing the difference between, AI, commercials with the Coke commercial and the McDonald's one, and then Stripe putting in the effort to show the craft behind what it actually means to build this city and then put the whole marketing together. And I felt that the differentiation there is the companies that want to be associated with craft and storytelling and building, being actual builders, and then the companies, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, that are okay using AI. They're not using it to help them stand out. They're using it to just attract the same people that they already know are going to come anyway.
I just don't think it's impressive to lead with AI.
Hmm.
Like, that's just what we got. Like, it's like our AI feature. It's like
Yeah.
this comes back to what are we trying to do? We're trying to solve problems for people and help
Hmm.
them realize, this is what you are today and this is how you can be with our product.
Hmm.
AI is just a means to a freaking end. I'm kind of over people marketing features as AI. Like, it's just
Yeah.
that's all about you. I used AI to build my product. And so the thing is like we know for a fact Stripe is using AI. They have
Yeah.
an entire engineering blog post on how they deploy something called minions, which is like their agents that go in the background and fix all their bugs or whatever. But
Hmm.
now the way that they're talking about it is so different. And then they're saying we're using it to solve our problems and this is a
Hmm.
cool internal tool versus this AI CMO thing. They're like, we're an AI CMO. We're just going to spray and pray. And everyone's like, but
Right.
we all knew even prior to AI that spray and pray isn't a tactic that we should
Hmm.
do. So why are we doing it now with AI? Sparkle emoji. AI is neutral in my opinion. I don't think it's
Hmm.
necessarily bad or good. It's just how you deploy it. And some
Yeah.
people are deploying it in a really poor manner and it shows and it blows up in their faces and other people are using it thoughtfully and with tact
Hmm.
and it's really improving their user experience. Another one is Linear, the project
Right.
management tool.
Hmm.
So their whole shtick is we're craft, we're considered, we're elegant, we're the thinking man's project management tool, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, obviously they use AI. You
Yeah.
can tag Linear in Slack and they'll open a bug for you and Cursor picks it up. So it's just funny. It's like we act like AI is the antithesis to taste and thought, but even the taste and thought people are using AI, but they're just being more thoughtful about it.
Yeah. So that's one of the big things that stood out about the comms role was like they're specifically asking for someone who has taste, who has judgment, and is able to, be good at storytelling and the ability to understand what's sophisticated technically, but then also be interesting to human beings, right? Like you have to have both the product know how and then how to sell the product to humans and not just, label off a bunch of features, right? I think that's like the huge thing that we're seeing now. Like honestly, I'm seeing a lot of like marketing and comms roles like for those larger companies that require more human skills, right? Being able to write, being able to craft a narrative, put together a story, a lot more than they're actually asking for you to know how to use AI. People that are good at that are already curious about how AI can help them do their job. Um, and that's like a thing that like as marketers, we should all be thinking about like what type of marketer do you want to be? Like do you want to be able to like, come up with the strategy and, like the storytelling and the narrative and messaging and all that? Or do you just want to like, let AI kind of do things for you? I think like that's the huge thing that we're seeing now, like the, fork in the road of the type of role or job that like you want as a marketer. Yeah, would love your thoughts on that because I know like, you probably use AI. Like, how do you kind of think about the separation or, the inclusion of AI into your process and workflow?
I use AI a lot because I work at a very engineering-led organization, so, like, it's
Mhm.
just you just don't have the option to be like, "I don't know how to use AI." What I've noticed is, like, I think AI has been really helpful at synthesizing and helping me kind of be like, "Okay, well, I've got a lot of, like, open tabs in my brain, like, what am I trying to do?" But it cannot build relationships, and that's the thing that I just keep going back to is and what is marketing? It's like trying to build a relationship with people at scale, right? Trying to make them feel something and, identify with your product and purchase it. And I just keep thinking about the relationships that I have to build internally in order for my org to be successful. And I'm like, AI can't do that. What it can do is it can be like, hey, this is your list of to dos. Don't remind this. You forgot that. And so it helps me with transactional stuff, which I think ultimately frees up my brain to like think about the higher order level things.
Mhm.
But I don't think AI is gonna like you said, it can scaffold out the brief for you. I think it really
Mhm.
helps with the blank page problem, which I'm sure like
Yeah.
you and Nathan talk about a lot because
Mhm.
he's a writer. It's like
Mhm.
you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And you're like, okay,
Right.
AI gave me a draft, and you're like, okay, this sucks. But now I have something I can work with. And you start,
Mhm.
I think it's super helpful for that.
Yeah.
And like it can be kind of a partner. But ultimately at the end of the day, I think you have to have your own real world experiences and actually, your work that you're putting out there, seeing how it responds and then like updating your priors and fixing it. I just don't think that AI is to go back to the AI CMO, you can't just push a button and have your agents do everything for you. I mean,
Yeah.
customer research, talking to people, hearing how they interact with your product.
Mhm.
I mean, you need that,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. One thing I want to call out here is how they flagged Reddit and like Hacker News being like where the AI CMO would be posting for you. And it's funny because those are two of the most like heavily guarded platforms out there, right? Like Reddit is well known for like kicking
They're gonna
people
take
out.
you down. Like,
Yeah.
if they smell spam,
Uh-huh.
like
AI
promotion,
slop. Yeah.
lack of authenticity, they're like, or being like promoting a
Hmm.
product if you say you're not promoting. I mean, they're gonna, yeah, I mean, it's
Hmm.
crazy. So yeah, it is pretty funny. They're like, oh, we'll just, get you a post here and you'll get 1,000 upvotes. It's like, no.
Yeah. Do you know how Reddit works,
Yeah.
And the Hacker News is similar, right? Like, that's meant to be this place that like, founders can go and like write original pieces or like, have original insights based on original pieces. It's not meant to, have AI slop where you're just kind of like selling your product. Um, I also think it misses the mark on like what marketing actually is, right? This whole idea that it's like, oh, it's just going to create content and like, well, what does that mean? There's different ways to create content this day. There's written content, there's like video content, and like each company needs to have its own method to not only create the content but the type of content that they're making, right? What's going to work for B2B is not going to work for D2C, and what's going to work for like, an early stage startup startup is not going to be the same for like a later stage startup. And I don't think that an AI is going to be able to figure that out for you. In fact, I think it just allows founders to use it as a crutch to
And
like
feel like
delay.
they're doing stuff. Like, I'm
Right.
doing stuff, I'm executing, and it's like, well,
Right.
are you actually selling to customers? Are you actually talking one to one and getting feedback? And
Hmm.
like, let me be clear, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, it is hard work, and I actually there's no substitution for that yet. And
Hmm.
I understand that, like, in this day and age, people can raise money and build something sooner, like, faster than ever, and I think we've been seeing that. It's like, someone said, "Marketing is 100 times harder than coding." Like, right?
Hmm.
Because it's like, oh, we're all realizing now that we can just make whatever we want, distribution and attention is
Hmm.
actually the hard thing, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, and the way you get that is by earning trust and solving problems and creating an authentic message, not by spraying AI CMO on Reddit.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. But then it also makes me feel more secure about
You're
my
like,
job because I'm like, oh, if this is what
the
people think marketing
competition
is.
is.
Yeah, right? Then, like, sure, go hire that, waste, thousands of dollars before
Then
you
come back
figure
to me.
out that, like, oh, we need to actually bring on like a human to do this because they're, better at thinking about it, putting the strategy together, like putting like thinking big picture and little picture. It shows me that I know like what I'm doing is right. And
Mhm.
then using the AI to kind of help me expand and enhance what I'm already doing for the companies, instead of just, assuming that, oh, yeah, let me just plug in AI here and have that do the role.
How would you answer an argument from someone who's like, okay, yeah, sure, well, it's fine, it's all well and good that Stripe is hiring storytellers to
Mhm,
expand the GDP of the internet because they're a bajillion dollar company, and they can have, like, they have the luxury of doing that, and they've got
mhm.
their podcast or whatever. You're like, I'm a startup, I need to get my users now, like, I don't have time for that. Like, how would you respond to that when you know that, like, in our heart of hearts, like, that is the work and it's so important?
I mean, I'd say that they're fundamentally not understanding what the sales and like marketing process is, right? The days of product led growth are behind us unless you are already a name brand that people know or have a founder that people already know. There's like less and less ways for people to discover you, organically, right? Like, where are you going to go? Are you going to go on Twitter? Are you going to go on like, social media? Like, all those channels don't work as well as they once did. So the main question is, how are you going to get in front of your customer if your customer doesn't know about you or how to find you? And then on the flip side, like, how are you supposed to like, find your consumer? And I think that that's where people kind of miss the mark on like what marketing is. Like, marketing isn't just like, we're putting ads out and then, people will find us that way. Like, no, you still need to know what type of ad, where to put the ad, like what should the ad say, what's the messaging, what's the point, how are we positioning what our product is and how it's different from all the other products that are like similar. That's what a marketer does, and this, like, AI CMO is only touching on the edges of, like, what marketing
On the
is.
tactics.
Right, on the tactics, like, you need the whole, like, thing, and then, like, fine, maybe you can't hire a full-time marketer, I understand that, that's what fractionals are for. "Hi,
You're
reach
like
out
you're
to
like,
me, I will
"Hey,
help you."
CTA for my business, I love it."
Exactly. But no, no, really, like genuinely, there are things that founders can do without even having to do this, hire this like AI CMO. That brings it back to like where you're at, right? Like, what can the founder do to be promoting themselves and the product and the insight of like why they're building this thing, like why they feel that they're the best team to do this, like how can you approach the consumer and like talk to them in the language that matters to them, there's
Mhm.
all these like little things that like can be done easily, like to start from like 0 to 1, that a lot of companies are like skipping over because they just think, oh, let me plug into this AI CMO and the AI will figure it out.
Yep.
No, part of you being a founder is you figuring that out, right? Like, figuring out the founder led comms and figuring out the founder led sales. Like, you should be able to sell your product like for the first, couple sales. Enough that like when you bring in a marketer or you bring in a salesperson, like they're able to take what you created and grow that,
Mhm.
But yeah, what about you? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said is great. I mean, I think a lot about like the importance of, investing in cool little moments like this or like this editorial stuff. And I'm like, oh
Mhm,
man, that's so neat. And I'm like, well, we're just trying to like pay the bills right now.
mm,
I think that it's super important for the founder to really like, and that's why, frankly, Stripe is so successful. And same with Linear.
linear.
They're very founder-led companies with
Mhm,
very strong founder DNA and strong founder opinions. And
mhm,
I think
mhm.
we see when that happens, you see so much of that push through the business and it creates a clarity that ultimately is what creates this kind of brand that people are like, I mean, even the same with Vercel, like, they have a very strong recognizable brand with their black
Mhm,
triangle, and their CEO is very vocal. Like,
mhm,
I'm not saying every single brand at a certain point has to be super founder-led, but I do especially think in this tech world,
mhm.
it's apparent because people wanna have that point of view, and it goes back to the humanization of the whole thing, which
Right,
once again, cannot be replaced by AI.
right, right, right,
So,
right.
there's no fast, easy way to growth.
Mm,
Like, just think about, like, the spammy brands that have tried to make a splash, and do they last? No,
mhm.
like, brand building is a long, boring, hard business, and Stripe wasn't Stripe when they started, right? Like, you talk about
Right.
overnight success. I mean, they're what, like, over 10 years old? Like, they have been
Mhm,
out here grinding ever since. So, like,
mhm.
it's easy to look back and be like, "We all wanna be like Stripe," but it's like, "Okay, well, you need to put in the hours to be like Stripe."
Right.
And there's no
Mhm,
shortcuts, and I
mm,
think that's what's really hard in the age of AI is you get on the algorithm and you're like, everybody's crushing it and they're just moving so
mhm,
fast and I'm
mhm.
so behind. And it's like, that's not real.
I definitely think that what you
Too
just
much.
said about shortcuts is where we're at right now. And I think that all these like AI CMOs, it's funny because this isn't the only AI CMO that's come out in the past
No.
like year. We actually just had a very big one fail within the past month. It was the one that was like helping you create videos and put that content out there and like distribute it, right? I posted this yesterday. I'm like, for the amount of AI CMOs that are out there, you would probably end up spending more per year if you had to hire all of them to do what one individual like marketing generalist can do. You might as well just hire the human who like can like change and like make other things happen on the fly, whereas most of these AI CMOs are very constrained to only do be to able to do the few things that they're able to do, right? So many founders, particularly tech founders, think that marketing can just be a shortcut that like you can just like, just like not pay attention to it or like focus on it later. I've had like a lot of companies where like I come in and I'm like, if we had had this conversation like even a couple months ago, I could have saved you from the path you took where going after like a consumer or creating this product feature that actually doesn't matter to the bigger audience that you're trying to attract, and that happens because marketing will bring it back to like who you're going after, who you're targeting, what direction you want the company to actually head to by talking to consumers and like figuring out like what that product market fit is, right? If they're good, not all marketers, right? But if they're good, they will help you do that.
Totally. I think like people talk about hiring their first marketer, and I really like Emily Kramer's MKT1 newsletter
Mhm,
on Substack. And she's very B2B focused. I think she was at, like
mhm,
a sauna and maybe Carta.
mhm,
And she talks about how like your first marketing hire should be kind of like a PMM growth minded person. And that's a hard
mhm.
thing to find. But
Right.
basically, you're trying to find someone who can interact with your product team and be like, what are we doing here? Why
Yeah.
does this matter? Who is this for? And then you go, okay, how do they convert? And it's like two totally different
Mhm,
brains kind of in a way. But like,
mhm,
I feel like all of these AI CMOs are just like, how do we get them to convert? And it's like, whoa, whoa,
yeah.
whoa, whoa. There's a lot of like building in the front of that, the
Mhm,
briefs, the competitive positioning, understanding
right.
that before you could just be like, let me get them to a landing page. And that's harder, softer, squishier work, which I think is
Mhm.
why it's not as AI-ified
Yeah.
and frankly why the spamming on Reddit falls flat.
Right, definitely agree. Okay, so a couple lessons here. AI should enhance individuals and not try to take over the supposed job. I also think it requires companies to actually think about what they think marketing is and like educate themselves on what marketing has a possibility to be within your own company. It's not enough to just say that like, oh yes, we're gonna be on these like channels. Well, walk it back. Why do you think those channels are going to work? Why are you going after this target consumer? What is your positioning? How is your messaging going to like work for these target users?
Uh-huh.
Um On the flip side, the fact that Stripe, it's not only Stripe, right? This is, I mean, the fifth among many of like, this new storytelling marketing leadership
Mhm.
position that we've seen. I think it was the Wall Street Journal that just wrote about how storytellers are the new like CMOs and they're like highly paid. I mean, give me 500,000 to do this,
Yeah, you're like, "I'd love to tell a
Um,
story."
right? But that's the job that you can't automate. The humanness, the taste, the like judgment, the questioning, the positioning, coming up with narratives and all that. If companies that you want to emulate are hiring for these positions, maybe you should think about how you can hire for those positions as well and not just think that you can take these shortcuts to get to where they are without putting in the work. Not just as a founder, but like the rest of like that team that has led them to this place.
And empowering your employees to think like that too. I
Mhm.
think sometimes as a leader, you're just like, "Oh, why isn't nobody thinking like this?" And it's like, "Well, have you told them? Have you
Yeah.
shared your insights? Are you, telling them about how, like, where you see the state of the world? Like,
Mhm.
your team has great ideas. It's just they need to be unleashed and they need to be aligned. It's like, are you doing that?
The answer is no.
No, absolutely not.
I'm a huge belief that culture starts from the top. And if you're trying to like emulate that, then the rest of the employees that you're hiring will find their calling by wanting to be part of your team because you are like that.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's like a huge thing that like Patrick and Tommy Collison have like created by being those type of founders that it attracts that type of employee.
Person, yeah, totally. It's like what they put out, and then they bring those more people bring in, and it's like a virtuous cycle.
Exactly.